I go. I'm going on a camping trip, 10 days at Grayson Lake, WMA. I'm going to hunt, I'm going to fish, and I'm loading up my tent, and I've got my canoe, and I got about everything else I own loaded in the old Toyota, ready for the big outing. Heading to the wilderness. Well, not exactly the wilderness. I'm going to Grayson Lake State Park. And from there, I am going to head to the wilderness. I've got a new experience. It's called tent camping. I've got the new Kodiak Bowflex 8 or 10 by 14 canvas tent. And don't be feeling too sorry for me, because as you can see, it's got plenty of space. And I am loading this thing to the hilt with all the comforts of home. No, I'm not going to tough it out like you might expect. As you can see, I'm not hurting for anything. And look at this, it gets even better. Joanna loaded me up with lots of goodies. So I got to Grayson early enough in the day that I was able to load the canoe and take off for a little outing, and brought along the blind so that I might be able to set it up for a hunt the next morning. And it was great to be out on the lake. It was beautiful with stone outlooks and rock ledges and bluffs. It really was spectacular. So I checked out a spot online and decided that's where I was going to set up first thing. But this pop-up blind is not all it's cracked up to be. Well, as you can see, that was a wear me out. But I finally got it up, and I commenced to the task of brushing it in. So as you can see, I took the time to cut some branches from here and there and brush it in, and I think that's key. By the time you do this, I mean, those deer do not even care that you're there at all. So I'm a big fan of brushing it in. Look at there. Just about disappears, period. So this is what it looks like on the inside. I like the view. I got my plan. So in the morning, I plan on getting up maybe 4:30 in the morning and taking off. And it was really magical in the morning. It was so dark, and coming against the bluffs and the lights from my headlamp going against them, it was beautiful. It was magical. I really enjoyed the trip in, and liked getting all set up. So I didn't have to hike in very far, but I did leave some reflectors on the trees so that I could find my way in the dark. Once I got there, I just waited for the sun to come up. It was a pretty great view. But I didn't see any deer, so I headed back to camp and had a delicious meal for dinner and made plans for the next day. course, I didn't know about how much rain was actually coming my way. So they said we got about 3 inches of rain in just a few hours, and it showed. My campsite got flooded pretty well, but my tent stayed dry, and so that was the first big major test for my tent setup, and it really was dry as a bone. It was kind of neat to be in there and soaking wet. So I thought, since I'm testing my gear, why not head out in this mess? So I loaded up the canoe, and after talking to my son, I made kind of a change of plans with my setup. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to paddle upstream, maybe do a little fishing as I go, test out my gear in this rain, and go to where I set up the blind and take the blind down. Also, I need to take down all of the trail locators that I put on there, so I don't want to leave that behind. So that was my plan. Take that down and then move to a totally new location. After talking to Jimmy, I'm going to go to Bill's Branch and set up the blind there. So that's my plan. It's a nice thing to do in the rain. I did a little fishing. I got to where the trailhead was to where my gear was, and I couldn't believe the water level was up so high. It really was different looking. So I tied the canoe on. Of course, now we got waterfalls we didn't have before. The ground was really slick, but it was pretty neat to be in there in the rain, fighting it out. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I got all my little trail things, so you'll see I'm grabbing those and making a plan for my next spot. So it was about 1.5 miles downriver. Now I'm going to go put my canoe in at a different spot, and then I'm going to hike. So basically, I'm canoeing a lot today, and then I'm going to canoe back in and then hike into my next spot at Bill's Branch, which is not near as long of a hike. Here I am going in. It's a neat little, right now it's really high, so I can get way far back in there, and that's my plan. I'm going to set up the blind and see how I do. Set up my location, but didn't really like it after the sun went down. I moved it to a new location, and Jimmy and I will hunt that later. The next couple of days, I did a lot of canoeing and some great hiking. Made some trails way back into the woods and set up a few hunting setups, but didn't do any good. But really enjoyed making my trail, making a plan, and learning a lot about what the habitat is like and what the deer are likely to do different times of the year. Then came Wednesday afternoon. That's when Jimmy met up with me, and we did some good.
Doe just came through. The sun's getting ready to set. We got here 20 minutes ago. Getting set up. Jimmy interrupts his conversation to say, Doe, 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 right there in front of us. Don't move. She walks right in front of us right here. Took her down. Public land. We're feeling pretty good about things. Right now we're going to find our arrow. Make sure we got a good clean shot. Yeah, hey Dalton. I told you I was going to be out hunting. Told you I was going to get it done. So yeah, got a deer. Yeah, for your birthday. Come on. I'm just out here doing it, thinking about you. Yeah, I might be fishing. I might be doing a little hunting. I might be doing a little golfing. But I got you on my mind because you're going to be 5 years old. What? You're 5 years old? Come on. And we got all of this life ahead of us. Let me know. Hey, all right. So yeah, good shot. She ran probably 80 yards, maybe 50 yards. No, probably 80 yards because she made it to the edge of the woods and then we found her. It was a perfect shot right through the shoulder and then looks like it went through the lung at least. But anyway, bottom line is, yes, we got a deer. Jimmy saw it coming in while we're talking. And I mean, we haven't been here 30 minutes and we got a deer and we're gonna be able to process it here in the field. That's why I'm getting my surgical gloves on. We'll be able to process it here in the field in the daylight instead of doing it with lights. Which it might take me long enough, I might be doing lights too, but anyway, we're gonna get it done. So very successful public lands out here with Jimmy. We got it happen. Steven, hey buddy, wish you were here. Jimmy and I, right here. Hold on a minute. Oh, special medium hooked up in the street. This was a successful hunt. And so 2 down, 1 to go. This is my military hunt where we hunt by air and by land and by sea. So I caught my bass, I just shot my deer. It's time to get some doves. And then I've got the trifecta, the military hunt. All right, here we are. I don't know if I told you, but we canoed into Bill's Branch, a little inlet. Here's all our gear. We got the blind, we got our pack, we got our canoe tied off to this log so as not to float away. We're heading back to camp. Let's go. You get down next to it. It's like 100 yards of wood where you can reach the field. So after that success, I decided to check out some more areas. So looking at the map and the topo view and talking to Jimmy about the area and some of the places that recently they did a burn, one of the largest burns in Kentucky. And he thought of a spot that might be good, so I headed out there. So I went by canoe and then I hiked up about a mile and then I made this, makeshift kind of a blind to set up. So my plan was set this all up a day ahead of time and then come back in the next morning. And that's what I did. Picture doesn't show this very well, but what I'm doing here is making a spot for my seat, and this little shovel was perfect for this. Glad I got it. In fact, I'm finding many uses to have this shovel
in my pack. But to be able to level off a spot for my seat so that I'm not sitting on a slant made a big difference. I was very, very comfortable. I sat there for hours, and it's the comfortablest I've ever sat on a slope like that. Okay, just so you know what you're listening for, I'm paddling in early the next morning, pitch black, but listen to this. That was a whole flock of geese taking off. Really, really neat sound and neat experience in the morning. Well, this is how the rest of the time went. I saw had some great setups. There was this one which I really, really liked. I made the trip a couple of times, and I also reset up on that field, and I really liked this setup. It wasn't using the blind, it was using on the ground, digging a little pit for my seat just like last time. And I really like this setup. In fact, a deer came in on me right on this trail, right on this setup, and I was super pleased because I wasn't so sure how this was going to be right on the ground without a blind. I did my best to kind of brush it in. You can see these weeds I put up there to kind of help brush it in and make it a little more obscured, but it was pretty neat. The sun's going down, it's getting a little cooler, and sure enough, here she comes. The unfortunate part about this is that I did not keep my cool. I was so excited about seeing a deer come in on this setup. I didn't take my safety off. You can see my finger, I'm fumbling around, and then I took the shot without being completely ready. So I actually ended up looking for hours for this deer and never could retrieve her. It was very disappointing, but I'm learning to be a better hunter all the time. So that's how it ended. But besides that disappointing ending, I did have a great time. Met some great people. These are my new daughters and son-in-laws and grandkids. They came out looking for me when I didn't come in till after midnight looking for that deer. So all in all, it was a super great trip. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you can come with me next time.